All right, this is Gary Berger of Berger Law. I am here with one of my clients and I think now a friend, Michael. Michael, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Gary.
Excellent. Hey, so we have settled and resolved your case that you had that arose out of St. Louis in St. Louis, and have you gotten the final payment and the settlement statement and everything?
I have, yes.
Great. Well, thanks for doing this Zoom video with me. Can you tell me what rises to the top for you for maybe the 10,000 foot view of your experience through this process?
The overriding thought that I have is that both you and your staff did a great job at addressing everything that I would bring up and kind of setting it at the right level for my previous knowledge versus my glaring holes in my knowledge. And it was nice. It was nice to be dealt with respectfully as, not a legal professional, but also be let in on a little bit of the nuts and bolts of everything so I could further my understanding. That's unusual in my experience.
That can be unusual. I started doing that, Mike. I started doing that a long time ago because I found that we settled and resolved your case in a mediation, in a Zoom mediation. You have since moved to the East Coast, and you were in your office. I was in my office. We had different people, different places, but especially it's true in these times of pandemic when we're doing these Zoom types of things. Is I have found, to get to my point belaboredly, I have found that having an educated and a savvy client who can make a better informed decision when they are mediating, when they are deciding to settle, is a lot easier because as you know, there's a big learning curve. Most of my clients they're not looking to sue people. This is their only case they've ever had, the only type of claim they've ever had, and they don't know this stuff. And so trying to piecemeal it or trying to just give them only what they need to know is sometimes not helpful.
I agree, and that's I was actually kind of expecting to be met with that in my very limited experience with other legal professionals, and that's not what I found. You said it really well. You helped me get to a point where I was comfortable with my decision. And it felt like my decision. None of this stuff felt like your decision that I would just had to take one way or the other. And that's exemplary in any industry.
Oh, thank you. And it's really important because you've just gone through this process. People watching this video may not know, but when you do settle a case, you sign a release, which is a legal contract where you release your claims forever. You could never sue anybody again or get another dime more for this injury. So it has a lot of legal import, and certainly with the size of the settlement we got for you, that's a significant deal.
It is. I feel made whole with it, and that's all that I think anyone could ever ask for.
Thank you. That's great. So I like to ask this question. You may have already said this, but let me ask this. You may have already said the answer to this, but what is something that you remember in the beginning of this process when this first happened that you were worried about, or you were scared about, or and that now, in hindsight, however, it's been about 2 years since now.
Yes.
That now you know the answer to that. So you know the answer to the question. So is there anything that comes to mind that you were worried about or questions you had at the beginning that now you know the answers to?
If this answers your question, the big thing for me was the unique nature of the resistance that we encountered, which wasn't something that I was expecting. And apparently that, you considered it a least likely scenario, but we encountered it. How we made it through that process and got to where we got. It was an ongoing question as we went, and it, felt like it could move forward or fall apart at any time. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's really what the experience was like from my side.
That's it's very interesting you say that, because I say this all the time. Is I have clients that come into me, maybe like you did a year and a half ago or whenever you came into me, and say, listen, I don't know if I need you because they're totally liable and I have all these injuries and it's clear. I mean, you had surgery. You had surgery right away. You had a broken toe, then you had sequela or problems with it after. You had to get another podiatrist to follow up. You have continuing residual problems with it, with your condition. But anyway, the point I'm making is that I have people all the time that say, I don't know if I need you, blah, blah, blah. They should just pay on this. And then a year and a half, 2 years later, I say, remember when you weren't sure you needed, aren't you glad you got me? Because Lord. So there you go.
Well, thankfully, the defendants made it really clear to me early on that I was going to be needing help. They answered that question for me very, very quickly.
I often say that insurance companies and big corporations are my best source of business. When they treat a good, hard-working guy like you the way they did, what choices do you have but to get someone on your side to fight for you?
That's the best way of saying it. It really would have been my last resort, but they left no other path forward. They didn't. So.
And I don't want to go in a lot of detail, but one of the other to touch about on your answer a couple questions ago is that we settled your case on the eve of trial. We were in federal court. We were doing our pretrial. We were set for trial. I called the judge, and it was a new judge here. And I expected him to be telling me, I think I told this to you. I said, oh, you know what, because of Corona, we're going to continue this case. He said, nope, you're set for trial. Your pretrial is this day. Da, da, da. I was like, okay, well, I'm glad we had the mediation set because, but we were ready to go. So what we had done and then for people who are watching, so what we had done in your case, filed suit, we litigated. You did a great deposition. We did a lot of work on documents. You had an interesting wage loss claim because you're self-employed. You also had moved households. So there's issues about wage loss damages. It's not like you get a W-2 or it's something that's a little harder to prove in some ways. But we proved your wage loss damages. We took video depositions like we're doing now of your medical providers, and we recorded them. So we play those for the jury later because most doctors don't want to take time out of their day, come in and do it. And your surgeon at St. Mary's, what a great doctor he was. He did I mean, I know you got an infection after, but I mean, boy, he stood up for you in the deposition and did a great job. Anyway, we had everything ducks in a row lined up and ready to go. And I find in life is when you're ready to go and they know that you're coming after them, then they settle. If you're not ready, then they don't need to pay you the good price that you got paid.
Sure.
So I find that to be the case.
Yep.
All right. So any other takeaways, or have we exhausted it?
To put a fine point on it at the end, this process can be a challenging process, and it was for us because of the disruptive impact that my injury had on myself and my family. And I found that anytime my uncertainty about what was going to happen next, if I could put that into a question and direct it to your office, I always left that experience feeling better about all of it, and knowing that there's nothing guaranteed, there's no fixed outcome, but that we've got at least the next step lined up, and that's invaluable to me. So I appreciate it.
You're welcome. What did you think about? Because I can't answer every question. What did you think about the staff and the collaborative effort we had at the firm?
Oh, they're wonderful. I feel like Casey and I are on a first name basis after going back and forth. It's, there's a minimum threshold for customer service, and I think both you and your staff went well above and beyond all that.
Thank you. Everybody likes Casey more than me. It's just part of the deal, but that's all right. I'll take that. It's kind of like me and my wife.
Sure.
It's a similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey and my wife are friends, of course. So, All right. Well, and one of the things I enjoyed in this process is, I mean, I know we're not like friends, but I do really have enjoyed getting to know you, and I get you to
Thank
know more. And you're a gentleman. You're the kind of client that I'm honored to represent. Truly,
Thank
it's
you.
great.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it makes my life easier. I'll tell you, there people. Well, there you go. People have these misguided views of what a plaintiff or what a claimant in a personal injury case is supposed to look like they're making shit up or anything like that. And you couldn't be far. And 99.9% of my clients are not like that. I don't want clients like that. And you're a good example of just a straight shooter, salt of the earth guy. Work hard all your life. Something happened to you. You didn't ask for more than you were entitled to. In fact, we had, there was some damages we couldn't quite put together on the wage loss. We couldn't quite connect the dots. So,
That's true.
I mean, I know you're made whole, but you didn't win any lottery. You're only made whole. There's no. So what do you think? Is all that fair? I don't want to be the one all doing all the talking.
No, you're fair. I feel like the gaping hole that got punched in our budget, at least filled up enough where, grass will grow over it and we'll move on with our lives. That's what, when I said I'm made whole, that means that I don't carry any resentment. So that's good enough. I'm 50.
Let go, let God. So, and that is true. Whenever these injuries happen, people do have economic impacts, and you got to weather that storm. So I know you did things in your life to do that.
Yep.
All right. So would you recommend Burger Law to other folks?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. I'm going to sign off on this. I really appreciate, Mike. It's been an honor for me to represent you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.